I'm learning a lot from these rooms where people leave one piece of advice around a particular subject. So on company building, what's your best advice?
Okay, so I'll share my criteria for starting or joining a company. 1, it has to rock my boat. It has to fire me up inside, or, will I be obsessive about it? 2, will it serve others and the world in positive ways? Is there scope for that? Can it be planned and guided and designed in a way that does that? And 3, what meaningful input can I offer? What do I possess that I can give? And if I can meet those 3, I'm seriously in.
Build something you want and that other people might also want.
Truth and proof are the best forms of marketing. But you can just demonstrate how it works. And you can use it right out the gate.
The product is the resume for the founding team.
Your company culture is like a bonsai tree. You plant the seeds very early, and it takes a long time until you see the results. After the tree is a little bit grown, you have to let it grow where it grows and know that you cannot control it, but you have to tend it at all times. You have to keep trimming at it. You have to make sure that it evolves and is healthy. As much as possible, try to instill assuming positive intent as a core concept of your company, especially for teams who work remotely or even asynchronously, sometimes, or even multiculturally. Sometimes a lot of the fights, the politicking, etc., just come from misunderstandings and the negative attribution of what people say to each other. Assuming positive intent as a core principle of the company helps you weed out the folks who don't have a positive intent, which is very important. But more than that, it helps folks just get along better.
Make sure you love what you're doing. That's my number one piece of advice. And if you're, every company has stuff that you don't really want to do, that you have to do sometimes. But if you find yourself becoming overwhelmed by those things, then try to find a way to give it to somebody else. Because if you end up doing those things for too long, you're going to fall out of love with the company, just like a relationship, and then it'll be dead. Try to make more money than you spend.
If you are between the ages of 20 to 35, make a list of things that you think are critically important for your startup. Typical entries would be competitors, agenda of tech conferences, what press think of you, what your employees think of you, what your peer group think of you, etc., etc. Okay, so now finish that list. Every single item on that list you just wrote down is absolutely superficial and not important in long term at all. Put it in garbage basket and never think about those items again.
Make sure your motivation and experience is a natural expression of your essence, your authentic self, because then you can't give up, because it becomes the very essence of who you are. And of course, good things happen to those who stay in the game long enough.
A bias towards action, make shit happen and get shit done.
It's really hard not to do all the mistakes that you're being warned about, but just know that getting good advice is error correction faster.
There are a lot of people that will give you advice and rules on how to succeed, but each startup is unique and there are no rules. Every piece of advice will have many examples of startups that did the exact opposite and also succeeded. Now, that's not to say advice from others isn't helpful. People with a lot more experience have made the same mistakes that you're about to make. For sure, it's helpful. But at the end of the day, realize don't ever feel pressured like there's only one way to do something, because there isn't.